Sound resumed.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to tonight's LaneSmash preseason match 3. I am one of your hosts, Darth Sebius. Hope you're all having a good evening, morning, afternoon, wherever you are. Today, I'm joined by the one, the only, Cobalt's very own, Mr. Halo Spud. Hello, say hi.
Hi.
So, Halo, this is the third match of the preseason tournament so far. And the first time we've actually visited Amarish. The other two matches have been played on Esamir, so we've had our fill of snow for the preseason match. So maybe you can tell the audience maybe a little bit about LaneSmash.
Yep, sure. So it's a 24 versus 24 format of Planetside where you fight on just a single lattice link. The lane that we're fighting over today is Kwati Amp Station on Amarish to Woka Camp Station. So each team starts with a home base, and then they've got two bases and a neutral one in the middle of that lane that they fight over. And I can't remember the points exactly. Is it 2 points or 3 points for a base cap?
So in LaneSmash, if you cap a small base, so a small base would be a 1 point base. So I'm showing the stream the map at the moment. So Kwati Amp Station and Woko Camp Station are the two home bases. If the opponents capture that base, then that is a 3 points are rewarded to that team. Every other base, so the single point bases, are all 2 points.
But obviously the home base is extremely difficult to capture.
Yes, these are both old school amp stations, I believe. So these things, yeah, they are very defensible, and I doubt we'll see. Hopefully, we won't see a team push back that far, but you never know.
The basic goal of this format of the game, though, is to find out, whose outfits are the strongest, because you in scrims and games like that, there are so many rules that it's not really Planetside that you're playing. And it's more a series of 1v1 fights, whereas here it's about capturing bases. You don't have the same set of rules on restrictions around weapons and what you can and can't do. The rules are deliberately much lighter, so you've got to use your head, use your teamwork, and show what your outfit's got.
Yeah, I would agree. As I've said in previous streams, whilst Planetside is about big numbers, is the only FPS that can kind of do big numbers. This is more like kind of small squad level stuff. So every member of that 24 team has to pull their own weight. Like, you can't have dead weight in this kind of a match because everyone's very, very important. Whether they're flying, whether they're an infiltrator, whether they're a vehicle, driving vehicles around. For the stream, I have turned Halo up, so hopefully you should be able to hear him slightly more. So, Halo, I mean, we're obviously playing on the Kwati to walk up lane. A lot of small bases, a lot of interesting bases actually. This is quite a varied lane in regards to the base layout, with obviously Shrouded Skyway as a neutral base in the middle, which both teams will be wanting to fight over at the beginning. How do you kind of look at this from, say, a squad lead, a platoon lead, and go, right, well, we've all fought on these bases before. What are the strengths and weaknesses? What do we want to kind of eke out of every base that we attack? How do we attack those bases?
I think really you've got to focus on the central base in the lane. That's the key one. If you capture the neutral base, you've probably won the round and possibly the match. You can get too carried away looking at every base in the lane, but the key one is Shrouded Skyway. That's the deciding one. And that base, it's the spawn locations are kind of vulnerable, but they're not terrible. It's quite an open base. The point isn't closed, although it has lots of cover around it. It's a good infantry fight base. You can get vehicles in there as well, and I think Mercenaries did that with a Cobalt Sunder on the point because this lane was actually used for the final of the last season. It's also looking at almost all of the bases on this lane, pretty strong for air to ground.
Yes. So just because I actually didn't say it, and if you haven't read the title of this stream chat, this is FRPC, which is a mix of the outfit FRC and 1RPC, the French outfits, Vanu outfits on Miller. And on the NC side, we actually have 252 and Dig T. Now, I said in the last LaneSmash that both teams, I think it was the last one or the one before, but basically the ruling is if both teams have the NC as, or a faction as the same choice for the primary faction, they have to default to a secondary faction. Both these teams chose their primary factions, so FRCP chose Vanu, and Dig T and 252 chose NC. Now, as our stream chat most likely know, the NC to ground is very, very, very powerful with the hammer, and it's not too bad in a dogfight either. Versus something like the PPA, which is very strong at range for an to ground, but not necessarily as great in a dogfight. So this is going to be interesting to see kind of how the faction choice is going to affect this match. Then again, Mercenaries did play NC last year, like you said.
Well, there are lanes where the strength of the NC, like if you get a bunch of scat maxes inside a closed point room with a couple of doors into it, that's very strong. But on this lane, you've got quite open points, quite exposed ones where you can bring vehicles and air into play. I think it does mitigate the strength of the NC quite a bit. It's not one of the lanes where any faction is particularly overpowered, I would say.
I would agree. I think both teams, obviously, they are maining their primary factions, so they'll know the ins and outs. These guys have played this game for a long time. Both sides are experienced in playing Planetside, so this is going to be an interesting one because there'll be no newbies here. These guys know how to use the weapons. They know what's effective, and so on. So what we're going to do now, guys, is we're going to drag the two, I say outfit leads, not really the squad leads, the platoon leads up. So first I'm going to drag Imikil up, and we can have a quick chat to him.
Okay.
User was moved to your channel.
Hey Imikil, you there?
Yeah, coming up.
How's it going?
Oh, good.
Cool. So maybe you want to tell the stream. You're live on stream, by the way. But maybe you want to tell the stream a bit about FRC and 1RPC and kind of who you are, where you're from, what you do, basically.
Okay, well, we're two allied French outfits, mostly composed of French-speaking people, French, Belgian, and Swiss, for the most. We used to play together during the Server Smash last season, and we play a lot together. So we decided to try this LaneSmash preseason and see where that goes.
So have you played this LaneSmash lane before? Because I believe you won the coin toss to actually choose the lane. So I'm guessing you may have some experience with this, obviously from Server Smash and Live Play.
I choose the lane on purpose because I've last season we played mostly versus MCY during trainings, and we play a really strong team during the brackets, and I thought I wasn't sure about our air level, so I decided to go on the lane that rely much on the air battle to get better. It's the preseason, so for us it's just like training.
Agreed. Agreed. I think Halo's mentioned it, and I've mentioned it definitely in past streams that the Air Force, having a good Air Force in this style of game, is very critical. You know, if you have that air dominance, everything on the ground becomes a lot easier. And you said obviously you've been training with your air guys. How are you going to maybe anticipate the Reavers maybe Hammer? Are you going to kind of play it at range, maybe, or maybe you don't want to give too much away before the match starts, perhaps?
We're gonna go strong. Yeah, we have to take advantage of our range, but we're gonna go strong on air at the beginning because Shrouded Skyway is mostly taken by air. Get the air dominance, the base is yours. We'll see about that.
Cool. Halo, do you want to ask anything?
Yeah, sure. What do you expect 252 and Dig T to do in the opening?
Seriously, I don't really know. I think they're gonna go like us, heavy on air, because the air battle is too important. Maybe if they lose too quickly, they will set a tank trap. But I don't know. I don't really know. It's important to take advantage of the north spawn because you're a lot faster on the point and a lot faster on the kill pad of Shrouded Skyway. So I think they're gonna rush that pad, find some solutions, and try to win the air battle.
Are you going to make a major play for the vehicle terminal at Shrouded Skyway?
Obviously, you have to when you're on the north side. South side, we have to rely much on air and take dominance quickly, as quick as possible, and then destroy all the vehicles and spawn solutions. Then we can focus on the point in the ground.
Yeah, I'm just quickly looking at the map, and it does seem, whilst the northern base, Genuine Physics Lab, does have a more open vehicle terminal, I think it is a shorter drive than, say, the southern base, which is Scarfield Reliquary, which is a covered vehicle spawn, but it is a longer drive. So that's going to be interesting to see kind of how both teams shut that down effectively. So yeah, Emikil, if you want to maybe jump back down to your team, good luck, sir.
Yeah, thank you.
And stream, we're going to drag Astriania
User left your
into here
channel.
and have a great chat with him.
User was moved to your channel.
Astriania, you there?
Hi, I'm here. Hello.
Hello. Live on stream, mate. So Halo, I believe, has a couple of questions for you.
So how did you prepare for this match? What was your approach to training? Because it's very, I found with the outfits I've led for LaneSmashers, it's been very tricky to get the right kind of training on playing on live. What was your approach?
So our training approach has been a combination of ops on live, which I think is what you're referring to there, and that can be a problem when you've got the other outfits on live not really playing the LaneSmash way. We've also been doing some Jaeger training, so we've done a mix of sort of PSBL style scrim training and combined arms training on Jaeger. We've been having weekly sessions on that to prepare as well.
Have you done much on the this specific lane on these bases?
So I've prepared a tactical document about the lane, the bases on the lane, and we've been trying to fight on this lane when we can on live. I think it's a lane that most people probably know quite well. It's quite a popular lane to fight on. So yeah, we've looked at it. We've directed our training at it a bit. We've not kind of gone hardcore on that.
What's your approach going to be then for the opening?
Well, we're going to have to react to what FRC do. Obviously, we've got a little bit of a plan, but I try not to make the opening move plans too set in stone for this kind of thing. I've had experience of server smash of opening moves, and beyond the obvious trying to get to the front as fast as possible kind of thing, it depends what the other side do. So yeah, we'll see how it goes.
Cool. I mean, yes, it's an interesting one because both FRC and one RPC, and I think you got a Vogue member. They got a Vogue member in there as well. They've obviously worked together in the service match before, and obviously I've worked with 252 in the Server Smash as well, but you guys have worked with Dig T on numerous occasions. Was this kind of just an obvious choice to kind of go with each other and make a team together?
Yeah, that's right. It's actually been some time since we played together in a Server Smash, but back in the 2014 tournament, we played with them quite a lot. So we've got a few outfits that we have good relations with for this kind of thing. And it was Dig T that didn't have a team of their own and were interested in playing, so it was Dig T that we went with of those outfits.
Cool. And obviously, both teams are the primary faction. Well, I'd say primary faction. I mean, Dig T are obviously a VS outfit from Miller. Why NC? What is it that draws you to the NC to kind of play in this type of match? Do you feel they're the strongest maybe faction, or they just work well for your kind of style of play?
So obviously it was going to be NC or VS for us with the factions that our outfits are on. It's more that we've played a lot of NC in Server Smash as Miller, so it was kind of a toss-up between those two, and that was the small thing that tipped it over from VS to NC.
Cool. Well, I have no more questions. So, Halo, you got any more?
No, I'm good.
Cool.
Best of luck for the match.
Yeah, good luck, Australia, and you can jump back down now.
Alright, thanks. Hoping for a good game.
Yeah.
User left your channel.
Cool. Well, that was the two team leads, should we say? It's interesting, Spud, because I brought up the ruling of picking primary factions before. It was interesting that maybe the T252 guys felt that having the NC is more of a priority than, say, putting VS down as a primary faction to then block the VS from FRCP. What do you think about that? Do you think it's more just a safe bet?
Well, I think that 52 just want to play NC. They have more experience playing NC. They've got so many hours using those guns. I think they just pick their home faction, and most outfits are okay with playing NC because we've all done it in Server Smash, like you said. Everybody's, I mean, it's the most played faction for Server Smash, is probably by a good margin. So yeah, I mean, if you can't get your main faction, then NC is always the second one, isn't it? So
yeah.
I guess the Dig T guys didn't mind too much switching to NC.
I know I'm a TR guy. Used to be an NC, but TR guy. And I don't know. The Gatekeeper is quite a nice thing. It'd be interesting because
the Marauder too.
Or the Marauder, yep. But then again, so is the Canister. So each has their strengths and weaknesses. It's interesting whether we're going to see any vehicle play, because this is quite an open lane for vehicles to play. They've got a bit more room to maneuver.
I guarantee it. I think we will. I'd be fairly certain, in fact. So I did a little bit of analysis on the rosters pre-match, and my view looking at it is that although FRC weren't as confident with their ability in the air, I think they probably are the stronger team in the air, and them going heavy in the air battle at the beginning, it could be quite decisive. I think I'd give the Frenchies the edge for this match.
I think having looked at both teams and having played against both teams in on live play, I would probably say just the experience of the Vanu outfits working together on multiple occasions, I would probably have them slightly favourites to win this match. Not to say that the 252 Dig T guys might surprise us and pull a victory out the bag, but yeah, I think VS would be my favourites to win this.
So the 252 Dig T captain, he was being a little bit cagey about his opening strategy. I don't think he wanted to give anything away on the stream. Not that at this stage it'd change anything.
I would agree.
My suspicion is that they won't go as heavily in the air. I think if they do, they would lose more nanites than FRC do. I think I'm expecting to see them pull we're going to see rep walker buses at some point in a group. I'm going to call that now.
Yeah, I think battle buses are definitely they've become almost a meta unto themselves. It's you take a point by having those force multipliers. I think we've seen that in LaneSmash, and it translates very well into these smaller engagements, so to speak.
But what 252 could do that would work very well, if they come into this match expecting to lose the air battle, then what they really want to do is take control of that vehicle terminal so that they can keep pushing out walker buses, spawns, any vehicles that they want, really. Then they've got control of the quicker path from spawn to A point, and they can keep spamming out vehicles.
Yep.
Because it sounded like FRC aren't going to go too heavily for the vehicle terminal, whereas I've got to be honest, if I was pushing from the south, I would commit somebody to make sure that gets destroyed.
Yeah, you either want it destroyed or you want it camped. You definitely don't want the opponents pulling vehicles out, because like you said, this favors I'd arguably say the vehicle terminal does favor, or the vehicle play does favor the north. It does favor the northern base slightly more, I think, in my opinion. So I don't know, we'll see what the outfits do. I think in a minute we're gonna have the ref speech, guys. So I mean, me and Halo can kind of maybe chat about some of the tactics of Shrouded Skyway and the opening kind of move, maybe. So I mean, first things first, you need spawn sunderers up. That's a must.
You do, but you need to not depend on them. I mean, my view is a medic is the best form of spawn that there is. If you get rezzed, that is just better than anything. You're back in the fight right away, right in the thick of it,
Yep.
It's why stats based on kills don't really give you anything. They don't tell you anything. It should be kills where you don't get revived. I mean, that's what counts. It's wiping a unit of infantry rather than killing individuals. That's the key.
Yeah.
So you can have these if you go heavy on medics, and that is a more viable option these days with the recent heavy shield changes, and it could be an option to medic ball the last minute a bit more. I'd quite like to see that.
Yeah, I mean, obviously medics are very, very strong, and obviously with the heavy changes, I think medics are more viable. I mean, the assault rifles are always kind of my favourite weapon just because of how accurate they can be. Obviously you've got the Carnage and the GR22 for the NC, and you've got the Terminus for the VS. All three fantastic assault rifles. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see if the teams do kind of push more towards a medic kind of loadout, whereas maybe before we would have seen a lot more kind of heavies in play. That being said, there is a lot of high ground. Getting a poke in game, apologies. Sorry about that. Yeah, there is a lot of high ground to the east, which I think having a couple of anti-air stuff in, like, kind of up there, is going to help. Maybe if one of the teams loses kind of that initial air battle, but getting it up there is going to be tricky.
It is. It's within the rules, even though a lot of that mountain range is just outside of the lane. You can go one hex out with vehicles. So that's, an air-to-ground nest up there is a viable option. I mean, a set of Raven Maxes in an elevated position like that could very easily cut off the choke points in the road as well.
Yeah. I'm kind of expecting that from this lane, is you basically take control of the point, especially in Shrouded Skyway. You want to take control of the point, but you then want to push your opponents back so they can't even get in the base. That's the best defense. You don't want to be sat around on the point. You want to push them back so they can't even get near the point. So it's going to be interesting to see how the NC, maybe like you said, using Raven Maxes, set up on the southern hill line, maybe perhaps. They have a clear view to that vehicle terminal. So yeah, that's going to be interesting.
The other interesting thing with the neutral base in the middle is the capsteel mechanic, and the fact that whoever flips the point first, it doesn't actually matter all that much getting on the point first. It's who's on it 4 minutes into the match that's the key bit. So it could be quite interesting with FRC saying they're going to stick in the air for a little bit and make sure that they win that fight. They may actually sacrifice taking the point and holding it so that they can push all the spawns, all the vehicles, any aerial spawns, galaxies, whatever that 252 have got just out of the hex, and then taking the point should be much easier.
Yeah, I mean, we may even see it not flip for a while, which, like you say, is going to be interesting, and both sides may want to kind of solidify their position to go, alright, we're all clear, we've set up a front line, now we can start capping the point, perhaps. Or maybe they just might rush in, who knows. We'll see very soon. I'm not entirely sure what's going on with the ref chat at the moment. I've poked Matt. So maybe we can talk perhaps a bit about, obviously this match is the third LaneSmash match of the preseason. We do have 3 more, and we also have 2 server smashes coming up. I believe, Halo, do you have any information on them?
On the server smashes, yeah, I'm in the thick of organising one of them. So we've got on the 20th of February, we've got Miller versus Cobalt on Amerish, on a new Amerish map, but it's very similar to the old 2014 map. And then I'm not sure on the date. I know that Briggs and Emerald are playing each other soon as well.
That's going to be interesting to see. Obviously, the Server Smash tournament kind of it's ended a few months back, so it'll be interesting to see. Perhaps just how much interest is still in the Server Smash. I mean, I'm a massive fan, you know.
It's just been changed a little bit. They've the 2 teams really have agreed just a slightly different rule set. It could be an interesting game. They're doing a 2-round format, quite similar to LaneSmash in that regard, for the Cobalt Miller match, which should make it more interesting.
Yes, and I believe there is a rule where no maxes unless used for anti-vehicle or anti-air purposes. So that's going to be interesting.
Yeah, no way anti-infantry maxes. That's an interesting rule. I'm intrigued to see how that's actually going to play.
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, start.
Well, apparently, guys, we didn't actually get the ref speech for the match rules. So, I mean, you've all kind of seen this anyway.
Quick reminder, folks, for the Wokuk case, you should be pulling your air vehicles from Tumas Tech Plant. For Quadi Amp Station, you should be pulling them from the Warp Gate.
Okay, so we are live. The match is live. I see maybe a squad of Reavers, perhaps, and a Liberator also. It's an interesting choice with the Lib. I also see the VS have a Lib as well.
Yeah, I think Libs are a little high risk in the opening. I think you pull them later on. They can be very valuable in a LaneSmash, extremely valuable. But pulling them in the opening is they're just such an easy target for a group of VSFs.
Yeah, I mean, for the damage that these guys can do, if you have a good Dalton pilot, I mean, they can be lethal. But like you say, you got a couple of scythes on that Lib, and it's going down.
So interestingly, it's the Frenchies that have got the vehicle terminal. They've got good control of it. They pulled a few Sundays out, but we've still got this a couple of Reavers above. Did I see an NC Galaxy as well?
Yep,
Yeah.
VS have got Sunders, 2 Sunders on the point, 2 repair Sunders. I just seen an NC hack out the vehicle terminal. I think he's pulled a default Lightning, which is interesting. So it's going to be interesting to see if the NC can now capitalize. They have the vehicle terminal. Let's see. Yes. We need to clear these.
Got back for Lightning. That's interesting.
Yeah. I think maybe going for the.
It's in that Sunday, but it's getting the repairs on it. I mean, Oh, and he's got a rep Sunday behind the lightning. This could be more interesting.
I do
Needs
see
running
NC
though.
Maxes as well. Whether those guys, what they're running. I see default Scat Maxes actually. Are they default? Yeah, it's the default Scat Max. And I see Grinder Max. Oh no, sorry, I tell a lie. I see a Matop Max as well, so he's probably running slugs.
The default scats are the only ones that there's no real argument for using.
Hmm.
Oh, somebody's logged in with my observer account, for fuck's sake.
Alright guys, well Halo is out of commission for 2 minutes. Someone logged into his observer cam, which is fantastic organisation on our part. But yeah, while he's sorting that out, I'll keep you up to date of what's going on. So the NC they got battle buses, they're sticking one right on the point. Repair bus, I'm not sure how good he'd be on his own. He's not getting reps. I see a VS Sunderer up on the high ground, which is interesting. I don't think he's actually got anyone inside the Sunderer, so he can't be used as a squad spawn. So yeah, it looks like the NC have gone kind of heavy with the low ground vehicles, but the VS... No, that's not a deployed. But yeah, the VS have kind of gone for the Sunderers up on the railings of Ewok Village. Let's have a look at the point. So VS hold it, but the NC are doing a clear up job. I see someone using the ACX, I think. That's a fantastic weapon. And the VS obviously taking the high ground has been the wisest choice here. You control that high ground, guys, you know, it's very hard to dislodge. And I think the VS do have air control as well.
There we go, I'm back. Let me just get my stream on again.
Oh, we got another VS Liberator. He's coming in for this girl. Has he gone on the bridge? He is. He's nailed that. Nailed that NC Sunderer. So I mean, libs are obviously very, very devastating for that. You know, they can hit Sunderers so hard.
Oh yeah, they're extremely good at it.
And the
Right, here we go. So we've got a Stealth Sunday just to the south on the road for the VS. They're looking pretty solid. They got maxes.
Nice, yeah, yes.
They are.
I see light assaults as well. It always makes me smile when we see light assaults.
I think that it's probably the most underused class in competitive matches like this.
Oh, I think a
People
good
do
light
very
assault.
tunnel vision,
Yeah.
and a light assault can do some serious damage.
I completely agree. A good light assault is a massive headache. So, looks like the VS set up a good strong spawn Sunderer. They've cleared the vehicles out from the NC, and they now are in charge of the point.
1 minute 40 left. So, where are the NC spawning from exactly?
The NC are spawning. They have a Sunderer spawn over in the bridge to the east, which has just actually been killed by a Mag Rider.
Yeah, I just saw it go.
I think a
Kill a Mag
Falcon,
Rider.
Falcon and Raven Max was pulled by the NC. I mean, that's going to hurt just for resources. He didn't. I mean, he scared the Mag Rider off, but it was a tad too late. Saying that the Mag Rider's on fire, he's getting reps.
The replacement Sunday has died cheaply as well. This that could be decisive. It's going to be tricky for them to get back in this fight now.
Yeah, I think the VS have definitely set themselves up a good position here. They're pushing away from the point now. They're trying to bottleneck the NC.
They are pulling up another Sunderer, but if this dies quickly again, they've lost the space. This one's a deploy shield.
Yeah, I mean, they're in a kind of a bit of a bind here, the NC. You know, they need to get to the point. Then they could go for Gal Drop, but with that many vehicles there and that many forces, it's... You know, what do you do, you know? It's, I think I'd agree with you saying this base is very much in the VS favour. Saying that, we see infill on point.
What's on this harasser? Oh, it's Enforcer. I wouldn't take an Enforcer inside the base. I'm not sure what he's going for there. And a flash. I think that might be the first flash I've seen.
That's interesting. So maybe some of our viewers don't know, but the flash, the medic has an ability called triage, where if he is inside a vehicle, so he can be on a flash, on a sunderer, and whatnot.
5 seconds, and the VS clustering on point. Oh,
Yeah, and so you're going for a last ditch save.
Crap.
Oh, they got C4 down. Oh, they kill off both Maxes.
Drop is genius. If that works, they've done it.
Oh, that's very, very nice. Very nice play by the NC. Very nice.
Oh, that's what you pay dearly if you don't get those beacons. You need a guy constantly with EMP grenades on them.
So I think they went all in with that. I mean, they took the base, so
Oh, wow,
good points for them.
What a sneaky cap, though. That was a nice little move. And the way they took the Maxes out on point with C4 from above is very resource cheap way of doing it.
Yeah, I mean, as long as you have those guys not pulling that many vehicles, they can afford to use those C4. Now this actually puts the NC in a strong position.
Hit FRC hard. I mean, because they thought they had that in the bag, they must have thought that. I thought that.
Yeah, me too. I was actually surprised at that. Very, very good play by the 252 Dig T guys. So, I mean, do we have a cap on Scarfield? We don't have a cap on Scarfield. And now the VS. Yep.
Flashing, but it's not a strong hold. There's like a small group of lighter infantry on it. Oh, we got one Max on there now. Really, the way to hold this point is don't stand on it. Get around
Yes.
it.
So I mean, if I was NC now, it'd be all right. We've lost the point for a second. We need to go and find spawn sunderers. Like those things must die. We kill the spawn sunderers. We set the perimeter up for no vehicles coming in. We then clear point. And then start setting up for the next push. The longer you keep those spawn sunderers up,
Fury bus in the base. They're bringing vehicles out now. The NC. So I guess that's what they're trying to do. Hit the spawn sundays.
I mean, the VS they have a Comet Max, and they have a Blue Shift Max. So I mean, those things gonna be a bit of a pain to take off this point. I think from a squad leader's perspective, it's very quickly, you can be quickly overwhelmed, right? All right, we took the base, everyone's really ecstatic. Now what do we do? Oh no, we're getting hit hard. Panic.
The VS are weak, though. Exactly as you said, they've gone for the Sundays. The VS have one Sunderer deployed, and it is blockade. If I was them, I would not be comfortable with that at all. I would be insisting on a shield or a stealth Sunday as a backup somewhere.
Yes.
That's not a stronghold.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of an obvious place for a Sunder as well. I think you see that on live a hell of a lot.
And there's a harasser going down there for it now. He's taking fire though.
I see him. I mean, they've got a Mag Rider guarding that thing. They know, the VS know exactly what the NC are going to play here. It's like, they're going to go for the Sunderer. Let's get a Mag Rider. And basically be an absolute pain. Oh, this... Oh, okay, right. So both NC engineers went for a suicide run on this. Oh, they got the mines down.
They've done it.
But another VS Sunder comes straight back. And they'll set up.
But it's blockade again. This is very strange. Because a blockade Sunday dies so quickly to C4 or tank mines. It's an extremely... You put one ESF drop on it and you've got a guaranteed Sunderer kill. It's a little bit fragile.
Yeah. I mean, the NC now, they've obviously got the spawn room and the teleporter room. Like, they don't have to worry about spawn sunderers, about keeping spawn sunderers. So that force that should be kind of assigned to keeping those spawn sunderers safe is now free to go and do what it wants, you know? So you'd expect them to go, alright, you don't have to defend anything anymore. Go and kill the spawn sunderers. The rest of the guys try and get point. But the VS... definitely holding the stronger position here. And I see archers, I see engineers with archers, which is interesting.
I think as a general rule in LaneSmash matches, if your team is pushing from the spawn room only, you're going to lose the base.
Yes.
I would, so for any budding teams out there, never try to defend a base from the spawn room. Always get another spawn set up. I think I saw an NC Sunder pulled. I don't see it on the map now. Yeah, so they got one deployed now. That's much better.
I see a battle bus kind of driving under the walkways, perhaps, and a lightning as well. Another lightning. And the VS have got air dominance as well. So those scythes now have just got PPA rocket pods. You know, they're going to make that run from the spawn to the point an absolute misery.
Yeah, that awful sound of PA that pre-nerf flashbacks I still get.
Yes. Yeah, I mean these their VS have 3 maxes up now. I see Comet Max and 2 blue shifts.
Have they got the beacon up though? No NC beacon this time.
I see a light assault. Oh, he got picked off. So that's 2 points to the VS. Now, do they have?
A little cheaply there. I think 252 Dig T will be disappointed with that.
So I see the NC have already sent 4 people, maybe half a squad back, and they are looking. But there is no VS there, so nobody's doing the bunny hop straight to the next base. Even to just take pressure off the previous base. As soon as you take it, you want that pressure completely off.
Got a guy already there, basically. It's unusual. Because, as you say, attacking is the best way of defending in Planetside. It always has been. If you have time on the next base, then they can't even attack this one. So you've won already. It's you have to keep on the offensive all the time.
I mean, that's kind of where you maybe go, alright, well, we're going to have one guy, maybe with a minute left on the cap, to go, right, or a minute and a half left, to go, right, your job, when we're a minute and a half left, is to ignore the base we're attacking, and go and get on the next base. Like, even if you're there for 10 seconds before you die, after the cap goes through.
Yeah, an infiltrator generally, although not always, but usually an infill.
Yeah, I'd be curious to see if the team's actually ballsy enough to send an engineer and a max. And that'd be an interesting one, because that's only everyone expects an infill being there.
Yeah, so they go pushing into the point room one by one. That would be interesting.
Yeah.
A little fire team.
A lot of tactics there, guys, for all the teams that are playing. You know, these are the kind of interesting things. We've all been playing this game so long that, you know, you've got to do the interesting and unexpected things to stay one step ahead. Now, I see NC are kind of... They've set up a nice perimeter of the base on the south side. Do the VS have anything above?
I can see from inside the VS platoon that, I mean, they've buried Genodyne in waypoints. I mean, they've definitely shifted their focus to the next base, all of their squads. But they're just not pushing out quickly enough, and now that the NC have got vehicles on the road, they're going to find it harder and harder.
Yes, it's interesting that we see... Yeah, interesting we see Mag Riders, but no Vanguards have been pulled yet.
That may have been a decision that 252 made before the match, though. They're just too resource intensive. But this Mag Rider has been alive for so long that I think they've got plenty of value out of those nanites.
Yeah, most definitely. He's probably got his nanites back by now.
Yeah. Like
an NC Vanguard, for anyone that doesn't know, like, if he's around near where the vehicle shed is at Genuine Physics Lab, like, if he's dug in around there, that's very, very difficult to kind of deroute him and get him out of that area. If he's got repair under it, even better, you know. Then you would have to bring in to get rid of that thing, because ground are going to get murdered by, or any vehicle coming near is going to get murdered by that thing.
Can you see inside the NC platoon if they have a single person in a Reaver at the moment?
I can do.
Because I see that they've got some Sky Guards.
Yes.
I don't see any NC Air at the moment.
Yes, I see one Reaver.
Okay, one low.
Where he is? Who knows? Where is he? Okay, he's come from Warp Gate.
Okay, we got a VS Valk and a VS Gal pushing up now, and that may be their method of getting past the vehicles, is they're just gonna fly over them and drop on the yeah, here we go.
Yeah.
So we got a Valkyrie drop on point.
So I mean, the VS now, for anyone that doesn't know or hasn't played this this base before, or is new to the stream, so the key part of this base at Genuine Physics Lab is you've got the A point in the middle, so the little small shed, and you've got the spawn room and the teleport room on the west side of the base. The strongest place for your guys is the double stack right next to the spawn room. Like, if you keep the firing lanes clear around the point, which can be 1 or 2 guys, you get the majority of your guys in that point, in that building.
What we saw in the final of last season as well was that in this open space where there's just no cover at all from spawn room to that double stack,
Yes.
if you get air to ground hit in that, you just can't cross it. You can't get infantry across there.
Yeah, I mean, you know as well as I do, Spud, you want to basically make an area so horrible to go near that morale will drop to go near that place, and then you bottleneck them into going only one way. And we seem to have
I think FRC, they've made a good call here though, in that they switched to a slightly stronger air force. They brought in a lib, they brought in the Galaxy, they switched to air dominance because they saw that the NC had pulled a lot of vehicles, and in this base, vehicles will not do anything for you. You can't get them in there, it's not really worth it. So a strong air force, it definitely has value here.
Yeah, I mean the NC2 heavy the NC guys were, I think it's Frazzle and I'm not sure who the other guy is. They were in here as heavies. They held up for a good few, maybe 30 seconds, but just the amount of VS that were coming in, which is interesting considering the VS are the attackers.
Following this NC heavy with a cowboy hat, he's taking them all on.
Yep, and the NC push in, take the point back. Now,
Mighty Cyclone.
yeah, you're going to want to, I mean the VS are pushing in, was there, oh okay, I see it, yep, I see it.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, that's a good spot. Leads you straight up to the point. Do they
It's
have...
a nice little route in actually, probably slightly better than the garage.
Yes. I mean, you can get pinned in that garage quite easily. So having another... I mean, I'd like to see probably 2 spawn options, maybe even 3 spawn options. A couple of stealth sunderers, you know.
The downside is that the NC vehicle terminal and pad leads directly to it. If they just drive out of there, they're going to hit that stealth Sunday. But it's far enough distance that they may not see the visual effect on the cloak. We'll see. At the moment, though, the NC seem to be largely ignoring it.
So, yeah, the VS have now basically set up. So, guys, and if you don't know what a firing lane is, I'm going to point out on the map. So you've got one on the left side of the point, one on the right side of the point, and then you got a stairwell line. Now, you want all those 3 covered. Having a Bulldog Galaxy definitely hurts.
Yeah.
But yeah, you want to cover those firing lanes. Yeah, then they push back into the point. You keep those firing lanes clear, and you push it. The NC, teleporter.
2-1, and I am just not seeing the numbers. Oh, we got some maxes pulled and more coming in, but they just disappeared for a second there.
So they do have actually people. The NC do have people at the Scarfield Reliquary for some reason.
Well, that's strange.
Okay, so we see the Max shield by the NC. Oh, he gets taken out by the Comet Max. He's still running Mattox. I wouldn't have run Mattox personally. I think Grinders or Hacksaws in this position, you know, very, very close. I think Mattox are actually a detriment. I think there are better options.
Yeah, I'd go with that. To be honest, if you put slugs on the other options, there's not a lot of point having Mattox anyway.
Yeah, I mean the VS now have Maxes just camping this 2-story. If I was the NC, I'd be looking at, alright, well we can't push from the spawn. How do we clear the air out? How do we get a spawn under it in behind and maybe attack from a different direction? I think at the moment the VS are looking very, very strong. Like you said, this open area between the double stack and the spawn room is a killing zone at the moment.
The Matic Max is down. The VS judged quite well that they were just a little bit stronger than him. They had the edge and they pushed in and took him out.
Yeah.
That's a big loss. You keep losing maxes cheaply like that. It adds up very quickly, and you know you can't pull anything if you're losing 450 nanites continually for no benefit there, because he just didn't get enough kills to be worth it.
Well, we do see an NC Max going to work here, but a Comet Max has come out.
It's
Comets.
got 1 NG on him though. It's a small fire team, and you're not going to break through all that VS with. Yeah, he's eating a rocket.
Yeah. So I mean, this is good, strong play. I see engineers on the Maxes from both sides. To be fair, that we see it normally. Definitely service smashes occasionally. You see it where Maxes will just be running around without engineers. It's like you're kind of missing the point of the Max here. You know, you have that Max.
This is better. They've managed to get the VS to overextend in different directions. They split up a little bit, and yeah, they've lost a few Maxes as a result.
I seem to have seen a lot of NC Maxes here though, so like you said, this is going to be very resource intensive for this base. And the base is 55 seconds from capping now. Even if the NC take this point back, they still have 3 minutes before they can even move out of this base.
And a Galaxy drop on point with 1 minute left is always risky.
Yes. If I was the VS, I'd have them a couple of Maxes on point with some infantry maybe. I'd get people on the roof of that double stack straight away. Get some rocket launchers on those aircraft that are peppering the point. But I see no anti-air up.
It's fairly uncommon in LaneSmash for a base to be capped in 4 minutes dead. One team just gets on the point and they hold it all the way through. Generally you'll get 2 or 3 minutes on, and then you'll get knocked off, and then you'll have to come back and try again. But each time you keep time on the clock, and you keep, you know, when you get back on it the second time, you've got a shorter clock to count down.
Yeah.
And that's how to do it basically. So with having got 3 minutes 20 on it in the first run, that's pretty good.
Okay,
and it
so
gives them a strong second try.
I like what I'm seeing from the NC. They've gone, alright, we've cleared you out, there was a good push. We brought a Walker Sunder, a dual Walker Sunder. We're going to stick it right next to this garage. You're not going to bring anything round here, and we can now have a bit of a breather from your aircraft, because a dual Walker Sunder will make scythes go away. For a while. So I mean, the VS are going to probably have to collect themselves, go, alright, how do we take this back again? Do we push? Do we drop straight onto the point again? Maybe go for a clutch thing? Or do we progressively push back in again?
Yeah, and it's not an easy one to solve, to be honest. If they got that Mag Rider up and pushed it in, they can certainly take out the Sunderer. And the Sunderer's taking a little fire from sides already.
Yeah, I mean, he's
killing them.
I approved 252. I think that was Astriana that pulled that aircraft, that anti-aircraft Sunderer. So good job
He's doing
from.
a great job.
I mean, is that blockade or what is? Yeah, it is blockade.
It's really going to slow them down, so they can deal with that. The VS can definitely deal with that, but it's going to take them time. They've bought time on the clock there, and I think that's.
Yeah, I mean, we've got 5 minutes.
Play.
5 minutes left to go, and the score is tied 2-2. You know, the NC did cap the base. Scarfield Reliquary. Is it Scarfield? No. Shrouded Skyway. They did cap it first, so the scores are still equal, even though it looks like the VS are in the lead here. Well, they're definitely pushing along the line.
We had they went to their home base, I guess, and loaded up Maxes in a Galaxy.
See it, yeah.
Yeah, it died short. That's dangerous, because now those Maxes are really vulnerable and exposed.
Yeah, I'm not a massive fan of that direction that Galaxy was coming in. I'll probably use the hills to the east a bit as cover there.
That's going to be 1500 nanites and 0 benefit out of it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think maybe the Gal pilot should have thought about all the stuff that's firing at them. I mean,
Yeah,
the VS are trying to push for the spawn. Maybe they're trying to go that way. I mean, is that the best way to get in? I mean, I think they're between a rock and a hard place here. You know.
They are. It was the position that they had to bail. Was,
Oh, okay,
if
so
they had this vehicle terminal.
this is really interesting. So, do you know how I was saying before about the NC having people at Shrouded Skyway? They now have 5 people, 6, 7 people. They have nearly a squad at Shrouded Skyway, and with the Sunder on point.
It's the right move. Go for it. I'd be trying to transition people there as quick as I could now.
I mean, I'm just gonna for our viewing audience. So, I mean, what you want to do here?
They got it. They got time on it.
Yeah. So what you want to do as a squad lead, platoon lead, is because that Sunder is in a no deployment zone, is you cannot deploy it on, you can't spawn people in that way. But what you can do is have it as a squad spawn, which means that any squad member can now spawn on that vehicle. Really good way of getting around that, to get your whole platoon there, is literally get people over from your squad, move them to a different squad, bring the other guys in, spawn them all in, move them back. You play, as a platoon leader, you play the columns of your squads to your benefit. It takes a bit of practice, and I don't think they've done that, but it is definitely something that I think future squads should be aware of, just because it's very powerful. You can quickly get, with a bit of coordination, you can quickly get a lot of people at a base very quickly on a cheap Sunder.
Yeah, inside the no deploy zone as well.
Yes. I see that Walker Sunder has been brought up, but there's a VS Sunder chasing it, and he's got cobalts. Oh, he's deployed. So we've got 2 Sunders deployed right next to each other. The NC are spawning on their Sunder, and the cobalts are just massacring as they spawn in.
There's 3 or 4 VS trying to push the point. Yeah, they're getting one down. There was a bit of a standoff, and yeah, they've lost.
So one thing I'm actually curious is the VS have seemed to have air dominance for this entire match. Basically, after the opening move, the VS have had sights up pretty much all the time, unrestricted. Not really seen the NC Reavers show an appearance. Maybe the NC kind of knew, alright, maybe we've not got that many good pilots. We're just going to play the ground game. Hopefully that works out for us.
Yeah, basically, I think that's exactly right. And looking at having gone through some of the stats of their players, I think that probably bears out. There are a few pretty solid pilots with a lot of kills under their belts in the VS team. And if you're coming expecting that, you know, there are tactics.
45 seconds.
45 seconds, that's so
Yep.
unfortunate. I mean,
Yeah.
if they just got on there a little bit quicker. Because you feel like that round probably should have been a draw, I think. Both teams
Oh, it is a
made
draw.
mistakes and played well.
It will be a
Still
draw.
VS pace. It was neutral at the start.
Yes, but the NC captured it first.
Oh, yes, okay, yeah, good point.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, half ends.
So there we are, half time. Well, I mean I think I'm quite surprised at how well that went. I think that was a good half.
It was
Both
a really
teams.
good round.
15 minutes until second half.
So maybe we just kind of
Probably all about to die.
and then move out of the way. So Spud, maybe we can just have maybe a bit of a chat about that. So yeah, that was a close round. That was very close, and it is a draw. The NC caught the cap timer right at the last second when Shrouded Skyway went through from a neutral state. So they got 2 points for that. Then the VS took it back off them. VS failed to take Genuine Physics Lab. The NC defended that, and then the NC got onto Shrouded Skyway. So all in all, both aggressive play and defensive play from both teams. I think the attack on Genuine was unfortunate for the VS. I think they kind of did everything right there, but the
I'm not
NC
sure.
seemed to
They
have
made a couple of mistakes.
maybe overstretching slightly.
Yeah, definitely. So when they got inside the triple stat building here, I'm sorry, I'm showing it on my screen.
That's all right,
They
I know which
started
one you mean.
going down both sets of stairs at the same time, which basically split their force in two. The NC pushed a group of scat maxes at one set of stairs, so they killed half of the VS, and then they went round the other side of the building and killed the other half. They basically overextended and divided their force as a result, and that was what lost them Genodyne Physics.
Yeah, I think they had air dominance as well. It was quite sad to see. I mean, if they'd have just pulled back maybe slightly out of that building and just covered the doorways, you know, make those doorways
with
choke
the time
points.
that was left, yeah, they could have backed off a little bit, certainly. And the other one though, which was kind of difficult to watch, was the gal drop, where they loaded up maxes to try and get back on the point and finish it off. Which, yeah okay, that's a viable tactic, but that walker bus that the NC had pulled and put by the garage, it minced their Galaxy.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah, they dropped way short. They got a whole squad that never got anywhere near the point.
yeah, I'm just pointing out to the just pointing out on the stream. Let me just I've been given squad lead. All right, okay, so I'm on my own in squad. So yeah, I mean,
it was a real mix of good and bad. I mean, when they first set up in the base, the VS were very strong.
Alright, guys, you can get back to your home bases. Internet won't be flipping around anymore.
And their movement was good and positioning, and as you were pointing out, the firing lanes, the close air support, it looked very nice and like they were gonna be quite dominant. But yeah, they overextended, and the NC did all the right things to claw it back.
yes. So I mean, yeah, that Galaxy drop, I think I said in the stream. There's this for the stream. There's this kind of ridge line that splits the Cobalt Communications West Pass lane from the Genuine Physics Shrouded Skyway lane. I think if that Galaxy had come in low behind those mountains, I think maybe we'd have been telling a different story here, perhaps. But you know, live and learn.
Yeah, I think you could be right.
Now,
That's how close it was.
yeah, I completely agree. It's so let's talk a bit about Shrouded Skyway. So VS looked very dominant. They took the air control early on, and then
Cap, I might have to steal that tactic. Yeah.
so
They set up solidly on point, and what we discussed in the pre-match in regards to what you want to do is control the whole base and not allow your enemy to get sunderies in there, get anything deployed, just keep them out of the hex. They did all of that and set up very well the VS. They missed one spawn beacon above the A point. And yeah, whoever called that drop and saw the opportunity and had the balls to call it and go for it, that's a very nice move.
yes, I would agree. Like I said, they did all the right things up until that point. They won the vehicle, they won the aircraft battles up in the air, gained air superiority. They then got rid of all the vehicles, strong position. The max, I think, I mean, even better, like as an experienced squad lead and platoon lead, when there's 10 seconds left on the base cap, you go and get to point, fall back to the point.
Particularly on a neutral base.
Yes.
And they definitely did that.
So in fact, that actually, if they'd have kept the high ground, which would have just been to the west, like that drop would have not been successful because they had the high ground, they had maxes up there, and so on and so forth. So
there was one nice little detail in that drop, though. A little bit of attention to detail. They didn't just drop; they dropped a few guys first with C4,
yes,
killed all the maxes, and then they dropped. And that was perfect. I mean, that's exactly how to do it.
Yeah, I mean, was the beacon up in the tree? Was it one of the trees above the point?
Yes, the VS actually had a beacon up there as well. Both teams had a beacon in the tree above point.
That's interesting. That's a shame because like one infill would have seen that, an EMP. That's that beacon's gone, and that's not even a high. That's not even like a tough shot to make for a grenade. That's because the EMP's explode on contact. You just have to roughly get it near the damn thing, and it's gone. So yeah, very very good play by the NC there. So yeah, I'm actually.
I've seen trap steals and I've executed many of them, but I've never seen it done with one beacon directly above point like that before. That's very nice. I bet there aren't many bases where you can actually do that perfectly.
Yeah, it's I think, like I was saying in the stream, because we've been playing for so long, and all these teams have been playing for so long, is you have to come up with new kind of ways, whether they're accidental or whether they're on purpose or whatnot. You have to come up with new tactics. Keep it fresh. Keep your opponents guessing in regards to what you're doing, because it's base taking 101. You know, everyone kind of knows how to take bases. You do this, 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 and this. As we kind of said before the match side, you want to set up a perimeter, you want to win the air battle. They did all that, they ticked all the boxes. Yet one unexpected thing thrown into that they weren't expecting, base is gone. You know, you've lost it. So yeah, I think for future teams who are thinking about competing in the tournament and also in the preseason, I think you all need to kind of get your heads together and go, okay, what interesting things can we do here?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I've always said that even if a tactic is not necessarily the best tactic, but nobody sees it coming, it's something off the wall, out of the box, you know, completely new, it's still a good tactic. Because surprise just works. If you do something unexpected, you've got an edge already immediately.
Sorry guys about that in chat. Someone was posting pictures of Hitler, so he's promptly got banned. There's always one. So yeah, I mean, we both put money on the VS winning this round. So I'm actually really excited to see kind of how the NC or the VS react to the NC's plays. I think definitely someone's going to be looking for beacons in the next round.
The pre-match when we spoke to the VS captain, he did seem to think that the northern home base was stronger. I'm not certain about that. I'm not sure, but maybe he'll like his chances in the second round to try and claw it back. I wonder what changes they'll make though.
Yeah, I think
because the opening kind of worked for them. Nothing particularly went wrong. They just missed a beacon. It was that small a thing.
Mm.
So I wouldn't go, you know, taking a wrecking ball to their plans. I think that they just some of the finer details can win or lose you a match, and that was what happened there.
Yeah, I think from both sides. I mean, the NC, obviously outside of the last minute steal, probably going to look at that opening move and go, okay, what did we do wrong though? What went wrong? How strong are the VS Force at doing what they did? So I mean, they won the air battle, all right. So maybe the VS have better pilots, or just played slightly better in that opening move. So the NC going to look at that and go, all right, well maybe we're not going to go with that many pilots. Maybe we're just going to go for something else, perhaps. It is tricky, you know.
There was an interesting fight in the opening, the first round, where the VS pulled that Mag Rider that was extremely successful, and the NC had pulled a couple of harassers instead. I don't think they really got much value out of the harassers, and you can solo harasser, but it's not really very good and doesn't work very well on this lane.
Yeah,
so it's more guys out than, because you can put one guy in a tank and he's still very useful.
I think if the NC perhaps would have won the opening air battle, I think having canister harassers in and around the point, I think that would have made more sense for me. They're not as open for the air. They've got a bit of cover, and the canister's lethal. Anything near it dies, you know. But then again, battle buses are more sturdier. They just require more people to fully function. So yeah, I mean there are options. The VS, I mean the NC squad lead's going to be kind of racking his brain now, going maybe we should go with the same kind of opening. I think the VS may be slightly less worried, less likely to change their tactics.
The
but we'll
problem
see.
with harassers here, I mean, they're a little bit weak. They're just a little bit too vulnerable. You get a couple of rockets in. You got all these walkways above that give you such a great vantage point to shoot rockets down on any vehicles below. You probably, I don't know, you could make them work, but I would say that you probably want battle buses more. And particularly if you get above the point on the walkway directly by the point and above it, if you get a Cobalt Sunderer there, because the Cobalt has a tighter viewing angle, you can aim closer to the vehicle. That's pretty effective. You've got great coverage of the point from there.
Yeah, I think Cobalt Sunderers are normally underused. I think everyone kind of always goes with the Furies, just maybe because of the bit of the splash damage, and you can hit vehicles as well as infantry. But I mean, if you're going into an infantry fight area, you know, Cobalts accept no substitute, because those things absolutely wreck infantry.
Yeah, they do. It takes a little bit of aim, but they've got range. If you tap fire, you can extend the range a little bit more as well. They're very accurate, and they just mince infantry. They shred them.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just yeah. So I've logged into my NC. Well, I'm obviously logged in, but I've gone to my Sunderer loadout on this character. I've not touched this, guys, and the Sunderer's got dual Furies with thermals, and the Cobalt isn't even unlocked. So I mean, again, you know, it's one of them. These teams need to look at. All right, well, I mean, yeah, this isn't even. I mean, this is an ops cam, I guess. So because it's a bit unfair, maybe. But you want to have loadouts accustomed to a lot of different things, and this is kind of where prepping and pre-planning comes into it. You know, you're going to go to this base, right, what Sunderers is everyone pulling? You know, you need to keep tabs on that. Who's pulling Sunderers? How's resources working out in regards to that? You know, a lot of kind of maths based stuff. You know, you need to look at how much resources tick, how much resources you're spending, because I mean the last thing
2 minutes before it resumes.
the last thing you want to do is go, alright, we're on the defensive, like we saw the NC do. Everyone pull a max, and everyone turns around and go, well, I have no resources to pull a max. You know, that's a bad situation to be in. Alright guys, sorry about this. I'm going to have to look into what is causing this, because normally my stream is quite stable. I've lowered the settings for the bitrate, so hopefully it should come back up and it should be viewable. But yes, I will look into that after this match starts. After the match finishes, sorry, I apologise. Alright, let's carry on with the match, Halo.
Well, the air battle's still ongoing, and it's, yeah, I think the VS have got this. There's still NC Reavers around, and they certainly killed a few VS. It wasn't all one way, but it looks like there's quite a decisive victory for the VS in the end.
Yeah, I would agree.
You're
They
on point.
so maybe this was what we were saying, is the NC maybe have kind of foregone the air battle to just get the guys on point and maybe hold it that way.
They got beacon again. It's in a terrible place though. It's not in the tree this time.
So
Although I guess they don't want that there right away, because the VS will look for it immediately this time.
So one of the things that's really interesting is somebody managed to destroy the vehicle terminal.
Yes, yeah.
Nobody is pulling vehicles from this base anymore, because nobody owns it, therefore nobody can repair it.
I can see 4 VS Sunderers inside the base already though, so that's them in actually quite a strong position. I think all of them are blockade. Could be wrong. They seem to go for versatility with their Sundays. And they're actually, yeah, here we go. So they're doing exactly what I said. They've got a dual Cobalt Sunderer and they're pushing it up on point. But it's taking a hell of a lot of fire.
So yeah, again guys, apologise about the stream, the time... Halo, what's your connection quality to the server?
Good.
I think
And all of those Sundays are dead, so this is a fragile hope, but it is for both teams. We've got NC and VS in the base, and I don't think either of them have a solid spawn. The VS do have this Galaxy though, I guess he's extremely high up.
Yeah, so I'm looking at the map at the moment with the NC. They're back at Scarfield Reliquary. They're pulling battle buses. They've still got 2 Reavers up, which is good to see. 3 Reavers, in fact. So, you know, they're going to be a bit of a pain in the ass for those infantry guys that are still on point, maybe. But yeah, we see battle buses coming back into the fight. And it's nice to see. We're not seeing 1 and 2 Sunderers. We're seeing multiple Sunderers being pulled here. But, I mean, they better get on point pretty quickly, otherwise this is going to go through in the VS's favour.
Yeah, this is tight. The NC needs something deployed urgently. Do they have any air coming through a Valkyrie or a Gal?
I don't see anything.
Or they're going for the fast bond. You can't even run there in the time that's left.
I think maybe... oh, I just saw a light assault C4 drop down, so maybe a light assault above.
Shooting right through.
Maybe...
I don't know what they're doing here.
Let's have a look. So maybe they're going to go... Alright, well, we're going to lose this now, but we're going to take it back as well. We're going to get ourselves set up to take it back.
They have won that little vehicle engagement, certainly, the NC, but it's taken too much time. And yeah, they've lost the base.
Yep, I see... what do I see? I see VS. Yeah, I see VS up in the tree. They were looking for that beacon again. Now, do they have someone on point? No, they do not. So, I mean, unless the VS gets someone over to the Scarfield Reliquary pretty quickly, the NC are going to set up here and they're going to be attacking this base again.
I'm looking around for Reavers again. I'm not seeing many, so I mean, if they just wanted to do an ejection seat scythe run, they'd probably be fine. I can't see that being stopped. Or a cloaky flash, just to get up to the next base and lay a beacon down. But yeah, it's not happening. Their base transitions are really slow.
Oh, some NC Sunder has just wiped his guy out that was running up the stairwell. So it's good thing to have someone on point, a battle bus on point, but you know, the squishes are what matter there.
Seeing these poor NC engineers bailing from a harasser that just got minced and then hiding from air to ground.
So yeah, once again guys, for the stream, apologies about the connection issues. I will look into why that happened. It shouldn't have happened. Can only apologise. Thankfully we didn't miss much of the match. So I mean, NC, yeah, alright, so we've got a cap going on Scarfield. Yep, Scarfield Reliquary. VS have Galaxies up here. This looks like an initial push maybe. NC are going to have to deal with this very quickly.
I can't see what weapons he's loading. Hornets, air hammer.
See,
He's hitting the Gal pretty hard.
I see VS are basically in the point building. There's like the upper stairs area. They seem to be holding that more as a priority, just to kind of keep. They can keep dipping in and out of the point. But as long as they keep that kind of safe, they can keep coming back, maybe. But they're getting people on point here, so.
That's the right approach. I mean, you can hold this building. It is doable. It's certainly not the easiest one to do.
And we see an NC Burster Max going anti-infantry. I'm not sure what he's doing. If I was you, buddy, I'd probably get back to the spawn and switch your load out. So I mean, Halo, have the VS got anything set up here in regards to spawns?
They don't. They've got a couple of harassers outside. I'm not sure what value those are adding at the moment. There's an NC Sunderer on the road pushing out, and an NC vehicle column actually.
I do see that. Yeah.
No VS spawns. The NC are doing a great job in pushing up. When they pull a Sunderer, they pull quite a lot of them.
Yes.
And then if they hit any vehicles on the road, they win because they've got the numbers.
Yep, that's...
You can do that with Sundays because they are so cheap. They're cheap, they're tough, and they've got 2 guns.
Yeah, I think Farah's said it many times. Like, you don't pull 1 Sunder, you don't pull 2 Sunder, you pull multiple Sunderers. Because odds are one or 2 of them is going to die, so you need that constant flow of Sunderers coming in. So yeah, NC are getting set up here. Let's have a quick look back at the Scarfield Reliquary.
Hey, wake up.
Points flashing again.
Oh, there's a VS Sunderer over there again, deployed by the northern building.
Okay, I see the push coming from the
They've
VS.
got a couple of spawn beacons as well.
So yeah, I mean, NC are pushed up here.
Do have the numbers in this hex now, and the timer hasn't counted down, so it looks like there's more than a squad of NC and Shrouded Skyway, and not a lot they can do there at the moment.
Yeah, I think yeah, the NC have got 2 maxes on point, but there's just a few too many infantry, and we see the engineer with an archer.
Thought this is my moment, but then thought twice when he saw how many VS were in that point room. With his compulsory MLG decal. Oh, I think he saw the mines, he's dropped short. He needs to deploy though, he needs to forget about battle busing. He's got a mag rider behind him for that. Just get deployed and start hitting that point again. Okay, so this is a stealth Sunday, and he's got a rep one next to it as well. Stealth is probably the right call for deploying in this position. It's always going to be exposed, you don't want to be visible. But having a few backups is even better. Here we go, so we've got a big VS push through the double doors. They're going to be hitting the point very soon. Let's see what the NC have got there. They've thinned out a lot. I think the VS are going to get the point back. They do seem short on medics. The guys don't get revived. Oh, here's one. That guy tapped out. So the VS are back on point, and this time, rather than 4 minutes, they've got 2 minutes 35 to hold it for. So this is what we mean when we say, you know, it's about the timers and wearing them down. You do it bit by bit with a lot of these bases, because holding it for 4 minutes against a strong team is a tough thing to do. But wearing it down, keeping pushing back on that point, and you make it so that the second try you've only got 3 minutes, the third try maybe 2. Keep wearing it down. And this time, are the NC going to be able to afford the same level of max spam in their push? It looks like they've just got the one with this and a lot of light infantry. I'm seeing probably too many engineers.
Alright, looks like I'm back, mate. Can you hear me?
Heavy assaults. Yes, yeah, I can hear you. Welcome back.
Yeah, sorry about that. Sorry guys, everyone in the chat, I should be hosting Halo's channel now.
The VS are well set up on point. Are you in game? Are you
Yeah, I'm still in game. I'm watching the upstairs, the big upstairs building at the moment. NC trying to push through into that building.
This is going to be a good fight. The NC have only got the 2 maxes this time. So pretty delicately poised. I think this could go either way.
Yeah, I think the blue shift max with the VS definitely shines in this kind of mid-range areas. I mean, the NC are getting bottlenecked. And there's a NC max pushing in now, but he gets taken out. But yeah, they're definitely...
It's going to be the revives. The VS, they can't all stay alive because you can just get shot in the back holding this point. There's so many entrances. They need to keep the revives coming and make sure they don't lose too many people for too long.
Yeah, I think... I don't think we're going to maybe see one more push from the NC. Let's have a look. I'll go and...
The last push they did when they took it the other time, they did it with a big max crash, but harassers as well that hit the enemy spawns and then pushed in the base.
Yeah, I mean,
that was quite a nice touch.
A good squad set up on point here, and it's a bit of a pain to get in. You know, you got grenades going in now, conks or AVs, I think maybe. I think AVs.
12 seconds left. They've got
Gonna have to rush.
They're pushing hard, but it's too loose. The small stairs is the weak area at the moment. They were all looking the other way. I think FRC have really got to work on these base transitions because all the time they're losing this time. They're giving the NC an opportunity to either set up a defense or to you know, get ready to hit Scarfield.
I think rule of thumb, definitely for you see good teams versus great teams. Great teams will always have pressure on the next base. Like, that's a given. That is like a 101.
They will never give you time to breathe. They're always on you, giving you something to react to. And when you're the one that's reacting and not the one that's making the moves, then you've already lost, and it's very hard to turn around.
Yeah. I mean, I'm looking at the...
But yeah, FRC, they pull off some nice moves in the fights, but they've not got that base transition work nailed down.
It's actually really interesting because I see Sunder is being brought up, but I don't see the VS pop. I'm not entirely sure.
To view pre-match that they wanted this for practice. This was a match that was about you know, improving and getting some experience under their belts. So you wouldn't want to stop and just rest on your laurels. Surely you'd keep pushing.
I completely agree. You know, you take every opportunity to try to improve yourself and try to improve your squad play and tactics, because you know, having something like this as an organized scrim, you know, these things don't happen all the time. So the time is precious, shall we say?
Yeah, for sure. Oh, that galaxy. That's brutal.
Yep, Cyclone Heavy, I think I know what you were talking about before.
Did a great job earlier. I saw him kill a whole bunch of guys.
Who is that? That's... Oh, I don't know the tag. He got dropped by a light assault that got behind him though, so... I mean, we got NC on the point, but...
Ecological is flipped.
Also, the VS have finally got there.
There's an NC Galaxy above the point though, and a reverse, so how long's this gonna last?
Oh, I mean, Bulldog Galaxy, if you're not focus firing that thing, that's horrible to deal with as infantry on the ground.
Yes, it is. And your rockets do not do a lot of damage to those things. Barely scratch the paintwork.
Yeah. So I actually I have done a few scrimmages with 252 in this kind of actually at this base, and they're not actually that bad at holding it. So it's going to be interesting to see what the VS do here. Whether they can kind of push in, or whether it's just I mean, yeah, all the VS have wiped now in this.
So my approach to this one, if I was FRC, it's trickier to get Sunday inside. I think it's probably doable. But the no deploy zone is more limiting here than on other bases. I'd get a Galaxy above flight ceiling and utilise that air dominance that they've had all game.
Yeah, you want pressure on the point. You then, I mean, the drive from, let's not forget, the drive from Scarfield Reliquary to this base is huge. This is a good 40 seconds to a minute drive.
Yeah.
So, like, you can send people to the point, which you obviously should be doing, but spawn sunderers aren't going to be arriving for a minute or two. And NC are going for the point again. They still have a sunder up, so that's nice to see.
Every time. The VS, I saw one rep bus, a couple of stealth ones, but they pull an awful lot of blockade and then deploy them. Strange.
So again, the VS using the firing lanes of this base actually really nicely. You know, they're covering the door from small stairwell, and they have people kind of just watching the firing. You know, the big rock in the crystal tube thing, whatever it is. They got people watching that. So, and they got NC have got reinforcements incoming. Now they're trying to push in, but are they gonna get on point here?
This poor little harasser. I've been there, chased by a bunch of ESFs. They're bastards.
And I think the VS have a cap going on Wookuk, yeah. So the VS, all these forces here, but the NC, Maxes included, are all...
They're 40 seconds in. They've got their Bravo squad is holding the building closest to the NC spawn room.
I mean, the VS are kind of just using beacons here. 1 EMP and that spawn solution's kind of gone.
The VS do need more here though, because the NC have grouped up now. There's a half squad here, and that could be enough.
Yeah, I think NC are going to take this. They've got 6-7 guys pushing to point. Yeah, there we are.
Nice EMP as well.
No, we still got VS. Kind of a lone medic, perhaps.
There's 2 VS around the A point, and there's a bunch respawning on the Sunderers that's still outside to the northeast.
I mean, if I was that medic, I'd be screaming for a beacon. Let me put a beacon down, get the rest of our guys here.
We got, is that a Valkyrie above as well? So, yeah, okay, so we got a Valkyrie above too.
Oh, 2 Valkyries. And scythes. Oh, one of them just did a barrel roll. And then the VS are now bringing... I mean, this is where the VS having air superiority really comes into its own. You know, they can freely bring galaxies of Valkyries from their bases, almost unimpeded.
Yeah, for sure, and you've really got to abuse the hell out of that. If you've gone to the effort to get and keep air dominance, you've got to make the most of it, exploit the hell out of it. They need aerial spawns right above the point, and they need to be... utilising PPA a lot more.
Yeah. I mean, I see the VS have a Mag Rider up again. I mean, that thing is keeping their spawn sunderer safe. You know, no vehicles are going near that. Which means that the NC now have to go, alright, do we focus on the spawn or do we try and get them off point?
They got more numbers on point this time, quite a few more.
Yep, I see Maxes, yep.
This NC Max is pushing up, but he should, right? He's on his own, he's gonna die. No NG, yeah.
2 minutes remaining.
Oh, that's a shame. There was an engineer just behind him as well.
Oh, there's 2...
oh, I saw an NC engineer got a tank mine down, took out one of the VS Maxes.
Oh, is he rezzed? Yeah, he's rezzed. They're overextending a bit though. I don't think this is the strongest area to hold. Yeah, he's backing off to the stairs a little bit.
Because the NC are going for a different type of angle to push this point.
Makes perfect sense.
Yep.
If the VS are going to overextend in one direction, then don't hit that direction, go somewhere else.
But I think they've kind of shifted the forces over. They get a Max watching this door now.
They reacted quite quickly, yeah. Which, yeah. I mean, a Sunderer maybe to the southeast would work well for the NC here, because that direction they really wouldn't see coming. And a few cheeky light assaults in the trees pick off the medics and engineers.
Yeah, I mean for the NC force, it seems to be kind of not falling back. Maybe I mean teams are getting tired now. You know, the focus maybe is dropping slightly.
Yeah.
Kind of defaulting back to default strategies of if we push enough people in this point, you know, maybe we'll get through. You know, who knows. But I mean, 30 seconds left in the match, VS won't take this anyway, so.
Yeah, it's true. I think now it's just a case of getting some kills.
10, 9, 8,
Oh, that PPA scythe just murdered a couple of guys outside.
4, 3, 2, 1. That's the match. FRPC wins with 6 to 252 Vs 2.
Oh, so it's 6 to 2. I thought it was 8 to 2. Well, there we are, Spud. It's I think after considering how close the first round was, I think FRC kind of maybe didn't really look in a state where they were weak in that second round. They always seem to be on the offensive, bar the.
I think they made fewer mistakes, certainly, but the real difference was there were a couple of great plays from the NCs, very specific plays that they did that really changed things in the first round, and those were just missing in the second. They didn't get those opportunities, and you know they lacked the inspiration, I guess.
Yeah, it's a shame to see considering how close the first one was.
It seems okay now.
Yeah, it's intermittent. Thank you very much, Richard Branson, for your internet. So yeah, maybe if you just want to quickly go over some of the things we saw there, and then I'll give the squad leads a poke, see if we can get them up.
Yeah, so a great match. I mean, that first round, that's exactly what you want from a LaneSmash. Really close, lots of nice, interesting plays, some good individual and team plays. And yeah, in the end, a very, very tight round. But the difference in that second round, I think the VS, they made fewer mistakes. They moved more as a unit. And those little opportunities that the NC got in the first round, like that beacon that got left above the point that gave them a route back in, or that delay in at Genodyne when the VS went to pull a warp gate and put a Galaxy and put Maxes in it, that allowed the NC to get properly set up and defend. Those things didn't happen quite so much in the second round, so it was more decisively in favour of the VS.
Yes, definitely. Okay, so I'm going to pull Astriania and Imikil both up.
User was moved to your channel. User was moved to your channel.
Alright, Astriania, Imikil, you both there?
I am here.
Awesome. Well, gentlemen, fantastic match. That was the first half was an amazing round to watch. I think 252 and Dig T are to be applauded for that last 10-second beacon drop onto the point.
Yeah, it was a really good steal.
That was slightly more last minute he had in mind, I have to say.
It was very entertaining to watch. Imikil, I mean, it seemed that you guys did everything kind of right in the first push for Shrouded Skyway in the first half. It's like you'd set up a perimeter, you'd gained air force, air priority. So to have that happen, then it was like
It was really simple. We're still choosing a comm system, and in the first half, it was really quiet between the squads. And even if we had spawn dominance and air dominance on Shrouded Skyway, nobody was talking, and the last Galaxy who could drop all the 252 on a point wasn't announced. and
okay.
everybody was thinking about the next base, and there was nobody on the. There was just Maxes and one or two guys, so they flipped the point easily.
Yeah, we did see that. It was ironic, really, considering normally you want to fall back to the point to make sure the cap goes through. In this case, everyone fell back and then got promptly C4'd by the 252 Dig T light assaults. So that was quite amusing to watch. I mean, how did you guys feel? We'll talk about the second half in a bit, but for the first half, that seemed both sides did some really, really cool things, and possibly some things that maybe you need to improve on. And this is from both sides, from what me and Halo picked up on. I mean, how did Astriania? How did you feel the first half went for you?
So we're also working out our comm system, and I think we had some ball communicating between the two main squads in the first half. I think it went reasonably well. Like I say, that we weren't intending to do a 0-second flip on Shrouded Skyway, but we were always intending to try and secure the ground and the air while the timer was ticking, and then take the point in the last 30 seconds or so. So that went pretty much as we intended, just a little bit late. We were doing quite well actually in that game in general, but we made a mistake with getting a pre-cap going before we'd actually secured the previous base. And we'll talk about the second half in a bit, but we did the same thing a couple of times. So we're having some issues with timing and communications that we need to sort out. I think we fought pretty well. We're fighting against a good team today, and we pretty much kept the fights even when it was, both of us had our spawn options and things on the in play. We had a bit of trouble with the air that FRC pulled. We were trying to keep that out with Walker Sundays, as I'm sure you saw, and we didn't get that communication between that and AV protection. So you had a couple of guys in a Mag Rider who did a lot of damage to that.
Yeah, they did a good job.
Yeah, I think from our point of view, we did reasonably well. I think play on an individual level with our guys was pretty good today, but we definitely have some issues with our comms that we need to work out to make sure that we coordinate the combined arms in the right fashion.
Yeah, it's interesting that definitely, I mean, Mikhail will probably talk about this, but the VS seems to have a Mag Rider up nearly all the time as kind of something to just stop your spawn Sunderers coming in, or just Sunderers in general.
Yeah, it was a thing we did last season. We thought spawning an MBT is always AV on the lane, and if you want your Sunderers to go down, you must defend it. So you spend too much time defending Sunderers, and you're not on the point of fighting anywhere else.
Mm-hmm.
And MBT such as Mag Rider have good mobility and easy to escape and easy to go and find those Sunderers. We had much problems with A nests. They were well placed, and we had problems to look at them on TeamSpeak. It's still a communication problem.
Mm-hmm.
The informations weren't that
Yeah, I mean, it was interesting because I think 252 Dig T should be applauded here. Once you'd managed to clear them off Genuine Physics, like having that Sunderer with dual walkers up, it seemed to kind of negate their ability to get back into the base, and then you had the Gal drop from the FRPC guys kind of come in a bit too low, perhaps, and get wiped before he even hit the point. Me and Halo were talking about that during the match. I think maybe if you'd have gone a different direction, we would have been slightly different in the first half, but
Yeah, there were a few maxes inside that galaxy as well. So that galaxy was at least 1,500 nanites shot down by the one Walker Sunderer. It was that placement was just perfect.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, fantastic first half, back and forward between both sides. I think both sides should be commended. I think you guys are going to go watch the stream back. We did have some technical issues during the beginning and throughout the second half with my ISP, but Halo managed to save the day and be streaming on his channel. So, I mean, from the second half perspective, I mean, we were expecting a back and forward again. I mean, Astriana, what went wrong?
Well, I think it was just a few small things here and there. So, Shrouded Skyway was almost a reverse of the first half. So we actually held the point at Shrouded Skyway until I think it was about 70 or 80 seconds on the timer. And then we got pushed off. So that, I mean, it wasn't 1 second, but that was sniped away from us. I think the problem we had was that, so in the second half, we had a couple of harassers doing the AV job that the Mag Rider was doing for FRPC. And again, we had the Walker Sundays to try and keep the air clear. And I think we didn't really communicate between those two well enough, so they got isolated and then picked off. We also had an issue with once we'd lost Shrouded Skyway and the fight went down to Scarfield, there were a couple of occasions when we cleared the point at Scarfield, we held the point, we got pre-cap set up, and we just were a little bit loose about holding on to the point at Scarfield. FRPC pushed back in with, I think, 5 seconds left or something, or even we might have got the point secured, but we hadn't got on point at Shrouded Skyway, and we'd committed people forward. So, yeah, we lost that second half by was it 2 caps to 0, wasn't it? But I think actually we were very close to pushing the fight back onto FRPC's territory a couple of times in that. It's just we didn't get the Hollywood moment in the second half that we did in the first, and just a couple of little points went missing. So I think it was a good performance, just not quite at the excellent level we would have needed today.
Cool. I mean, this is
Did
what
you make a decision pre-match that you weren't going to use Vanguards at all?
Yeah, so we thought that the nanite investment of 2 harassers would be more effective for LaneSmash. So Imrakil talked about how mobile and easy to escape with Mag Riders are. That's not really true for Vanguard.
Yeah.
And we felt they'd be too vulnerable and too expensive. So yeah, that was deliberate that we went with harassers.
It depends on the lane. Lane on us and you play with the Vanguard because you can hide between the trees. It's hard to locate and shoot at.
yeah, I think
the
pros
lane
and cons
is
definitely.
pretty much open like Samir. It's quite hard to hide.
Yeah, and particularly with the amount of air that you had, I think a Vanguard would just have found that it had a Liberator behind it pretty quickly today.
Yeah.
That was actually something that I did see the Vanu side using a hell of a lot was, well, I say a hell of a lot, I saw a good few of them, was Liberators. Especially for killing Sunderers off. I think that was...
Yeah, we will play with Liberators, with solo Liberators since at least 1 year. Even LaneSmash, I get 2 or 3 good pilots, do good solo pilots, so it's easy for them to. They always do that on live, so their main targets are Galaxies and Sunderers.
Yeah, we really noticed that you were doing that as well. I mean, we weren't that surprised. We've seen that be a tactic in Server Smash from actually various middle outfits do that these days. So yeah, we weren't surprised to see a Liberator in the composition, but it's certainly when you caught our AA Sunday by surprise with that, you did a lot of damage with it. So yeah, well played with that. Your air composition was very good.
Yeah, it's quite hard to measure. The thing is, I was wondering during the second half, how was your resources by the time we hit Scarfield?
I don't think we had any major blood resources. So a couple of people got resource starved. I think the people that pulled maxes couldn't then pull maxes again. But actually, we were mostly playing with infantry, harassers, and sunderers, and they're all quite cheap. So I think we actually did okay with resources.
Okay. So because you pulled rivers in Scarfield, and you killed our air, and the first time we failed on Scarfield, it was because my Charlie squad, who were my pilot, couldn't join the points on Scarfield and help us. And the second time, as we play on Shroud Skyway, we relied heavily on infantry. By the time we kept Shrouded, we were 2 squads on the points. To be sure, this time we don't get still. And Scarfield, we were all inside the building, so the transition between Walker Ecological and Scarfield was pretty messy. It's quite far. I was thinking anyway. We didn't think that much on Walker Ecological because we didn't think the match could get far.
No, we were
And
the same. We prepared basically we prepared tactics for the central 3 bases.
yeah,
We
yeah.
were not expecting to get either for us to push or
And
to be pushed
Scarfield
back
is
that
quite
far.
far from Walker
Yeah,
Ecological.
that is a long transfer, and actually all the transfers on that lane are quite long. All of the in base space was quite contested. I think it's a good lane actually from that point of view.
Yeah.
Cool. Well,
So Imrakil,
yeah.
you mentioned that one of the problems you had was you couldn't get your pilots onto the point at Scarfield. Did you switch your guys from ground to air quite often? Is that something that you do?
Platoon composition was pretty simple. I got an 8 squad, 8 guys, spending resources only on infantry. Charlie's squad was 7 pilots and 1 gal pilot, main resource spending on air, and the Bravo squad was the support squad. So the Mag Riders crew was from Bravo, and we pulled air as Charlie announced they were low on resources, stuff like that. We always go either infantry or air with the Bravo squad.
Okay. Cool. Well, I don't think I have any more questions. Halo, do you have any more?
No, I'm
Cool.
done. But great game. I hope all you guys enjoyed it.
Okay, so it is Goon and FRMD are a team against Elmi. So that is another Miller LaneSmash. That's going to be an interesting one. I think both those teams are equally matched. So that's going to be an interesting one. And then we've got the server smash, obviously, 2 hours later. So plenty of Planetside for one day.
All right, nice one.
Cool. Well,
see you then.
Yep, thanks Halo. I've been Darth Sebius, he's been Halo Spud, and thank you all for watching and fighting through all my connection issues, and hopefully we'll see you soon.